Yo, 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 this is Too Sick with Super Sick Records, and I want to get into recording audio. So, first things first, you're going to open up Logic. You're going to have your audio interface plugged in to your laptop, and depending on what audio interface you have, means you might need to get a driver for it. And I'm using the Universal Audio interface, so that means I did have to get this kind of like installer. Not, I don't know, it's not like an installer, but it's called UA Connect. Make sure you have that in your arsenal when you have Universal Audio soft Universal Audio fucking interface. Anyways, you want to plug into your MacBook, open up your Logic, open up an empty project. Then you're gonna want to go up here, top left, go to settings, audio, and then you got your input output device should say your interface. So my interface name is Volt 176, and so the output should be the Volt 176. That way you could hear yourself through the headphones, and you could also hear the beat through the headphones. Okay? If I change the output to my MacBook speakers, I would be able to if I change it to my MacBook Air speakers, that means the input is, so I'm inputting the audio, it's going into the interface, and then the sound is then going to come out the speakers instead of out my headphones. Unless I also have this hooked up. So now you can hear yourself through the headphones, and also it's going out the speakers. Okay, so that's how you can also do like for live performances and stuff like that. You know, like if you were at like a park or something like that and you wanted to set up a live performance, you could fucking use your Logic Pro as a source of audio to like work the audio frequencies to the speakers, and then you got your mic. You could do the output to your speakers. Input is your audio interface, so just like that. So anyways, I'm gonna go back to the Volt 176. Okay, it's a little weird hearing my voice through the speakers, and then it was also catching on the mic, so it's like my voice was like doubled. But anyways, let's talk about recording audio. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you one trick you should do is when you go ahead and add a new mic line or whatever, you're gonna want to go over here where it says stereo out. See right here, stereo out. Change this to your bus, to a new bus, and let's just say, so my new bus is bus 1. I already have it activated. I already have the channel open. But for you guys, it's going to be completely blank, right? So change it to bus 1. And then so now bus 1 will be it'll be your track that you can control all the audio from. See? See what I'm saying? You can't hear my audio anymore because I turned it down. So I'm gonna turn it back up. And then you can add your like reverb effect on this one channel, and it'll apply to all the channels that are hooked into this bus channel. Okay? Now let's get into recording audio. Let's get into it. Now, when you're up here and you're recording, gauge your audio interface as you're recording. Make sure, so you know how there's a light where it's like green and it turns yellow and then it sometimes turns red. Make sure that your vocals aren't hitting red. Stay in the green and yellow. So let's go ahead and record on this beat, and I'm gonna show you guys like what like a quality take might look like. Look, I don't fuck bitches, only fuck hoes. They be, I don't fucking know, bro. So boom, you get your take, you get however loud you want it to be, and this honestly looks like I might need to turn my audio interface a little bit up, just because I want more energy in here. But this is still doable. This is still doable. Look, I don't fuck bitches, only fuck hoes. Boom, we're hitting at -4. That's like honestly perfect. Another thing you want to consider is how volume works. So you see how I added reverb to my my vocals here. So when I soloed it out here, right, you see this channel says -4. However, stereo out says -2. And that's because it's adding this volume. You see -4 plus -17. It's adding these volumes together. So like if I muted this, then it would definitely match, right? So let me play it again. Look, I don't fuck bitches, only fuck. Right, so but as soon as I add the reverb in, we're adding volume to the main vocals, so it is definitely gonna go up a little bit. That's just something you wanna keep in mind. Look, I don't fuck bitches, only fuck hoes. They be, So yeah, so there's that, and then you could apply that same concept to when you're recording over the beat as well. So let's unsolo that. And so these are the vocals soloed out, -2. And as soon as I play the beat, remember it's gonna add volume on top of that, so it's gonna get into the reds. Look, I don't fuck bitches, only fuck hoes. They be, So you see, and then since we're at like -4 on the input, we could honestly take our beat down to -4, just so we could hear ourselves a little bit better. And then what we can do is go to our audio interface right here, and then just like turn it up in our headphones so the beat's louder in our headphones. And then what else am I missing? So yeah, there's pretty much that, and then pretty much I also want to tell you, as you're recording, as you're doing your takes and tracking out your vocals, I would say just focus on doing the takes. Don't worry about look, I don't fuck bitches, only fuck hoes. Just like don't really worry too much about the stereo out just yet. Just worry about your vocals not clipping, because this is what we're doing. We're just inputting vocals over a beat. So since we're working with vocals, we want to make sure we get our vocals in as quality as possible. So make sure you preserve the audio by monitoring your input as you record. So there's that. And then once you're finished doing all your vocals, that's when you do a little bit more with the sliders or the faders to like make sure your stereo out doesn't clip and stuff like that. And that would be called the mixing phase. Gain staging phase. You want to do gain staging first, which is level everything out, make sure all the sounds make sure nothing's poking out, yada yada yada. So yeah, man, go, you know, when you record, approach it like you know, there's phases to it. Your phase 1 is the songwriting composition phase. Get the vocals on there, make sure the vocals are quality, and like make sure they're not clipping or anything, right? So make sure you get your best takes in, right? Finalize your best takes, and then after that, that's when you want to start balancing everything out. if there's certain takes that are louder than other takes, you might need to take, you might need to take scissors. You might need to do stuff like this where you're like, oh, this file's a little bit fat, so I might need to change this to like lower frequency. So this one's -2, right? See it like, these are just examples. This isn't like foolproof. These are just examples, like short examples. They're not really like too detailed. I just want you to be able to like see what I'm doing here, and you'll be able to apply it in a much more like broader like way, I guess. Another thing you can do here in the gain staging phase is you press A. And so A, what this does is, let's say there's a part in the vocal that pokes out. Photos, maybe, I don't fucking know. Only photos. So like you see how, only photos. See how it goes up to -9 and it's like, only photos. Let's say I wanted to keep this at -10. So, and I know that it goes up in this range. So if I double click here and I double click here, I could kind of just turn some of it down so it kind of stays at this -9 range, right? Only photos, maybe, or my bad, at this -10 range. Only photos, maybe. See what I'm saying? So only photos. This would be the gain staging part, you're making sure all the levels aren't like gonna be a problem when it comes to the mastering phase. So this is part of the mixing phase. The mixing phase, I believe, takes like the longest. Mastering phase is pretty quick one too. Like you kind of already know what to do. It's just like, doesn't take as long as doing all of this, making sure everything's fucking right, nothing's poking out crazy, stuff like that. You're really just prepping it for a long time. That way when you're ready to master it, it's like boom, no problem, So that's just my TED talk on taking vocals. I try to tell you as many quick tips as possible. So yeah, again, this is 2 Sig with Super Sig Records. Appreciate you tuning in and freaking listening to what I have to say and all that stuff. So yeah.